was my first time ever going to an Iraqi police graduation, and I didn't know that at the end they just get excited and they dance and they sing, and I didn't know any of that. So it was exciting for me to actually capture those moments when they were really excited and happy to actually be able to take care of, provide security for their country.
When I walked up, that's how I saw it. Once you get up the steps, the entire bottom and the entire top is mirrored. So it's really bright and it's shiny, and so people usually don't shoot that shot because the rest of it is so spectacular. So they usually go up the steps and then they start shooting. But I didn't do that. I was more intrigued by just the shapes. And then there were some security guys going up the steps. I thought, okay, this would be a good opportunity to kind of show the steps, So I composed it pretty much exactly as I shot it.
Two members of Combat Camera, two unique experiences, each with his or her own path ultimately leading to the same location.
And when I joined the Air Force, I was able to select it as a job.
When I went to the military entrance processing station, went down there, talked to them about the kind of jobs that I would like to have, which would be in the business field, because that's what my bachelor's was in, was business management. They didn't have any of those jobs available.
I had a supervisor who asked me what did I really want to do. So I picked up an Airman magazine and kind of went through it and was like, I'd like to do this. I'd like to just travel and shoot and tell stories.
And they said, we have combat documentation production specialists. I said, oh, okay, that sounds interesting.
Tech Sergeant Derek Good and Sergeant Sharonda McCoy are assigned to DIMOC, the Defense Imagery Management Operations Center stationed at the Pentagon. DIMOC is responsible for the hundreds of thousands of photos and hundreds of hours of video shot around the world each year. What Sergeants Good and McCoy have in common is experience in the field. Where it differs is what they see through the lens of a camera.
I heard so many stories from my fellow combat photographers in my unit that had already deployed. And all I could think of was that I wanted my own stories to tell. That is a fun day for us. We go to the markets, do our patrols through the markets, talk to some of the families, play with the kids. It's a patrol, but it's more of a fun patrol because we actually get to interact a lot. We're not kicking in doors or searching people's homes and trying to find stuff. We're just doing a regular routine patrol.
I look for detail and I look for the moment, which is what we're taught in photojournalism school, is trying to capture the moment. So that's really kind of what I consider like one of my stronger suits, is being patient and just kind of waiting for the moment to happen and being able to capture that shot. It was kind of a sad story. It was in Laos. I was working with the Joint POW MIA County Command at the time, and we had about 100 workers with us, and one of the workers was the grandmother of the little girl. And so the little girl would just always be off in the corner by herself. In the Lao, people are very friendly, but the villagers really seemed to kind of shun this little girl, and we couldn't understand why. And they explained to us that her mother died during childbirth, and because of her blue eyes, they thought that might be a curse. These are just local villagers in Laos, and so they not really sophisticated or anything like that. The father died within a year of that, so they basically took the little girl out into the woods and left her to die. Her grandmother went and got her, brought her back, and they were actually living in a cave right outside of the village.
I never had to pick up my weapon, but I had to drop the camera during a mission. I was in the house, and we were just doing a regular knock on doors and talk to people, see if they knew of any insurgents in their neighborhood. And we just started hearing gunshots just lighting it up. So at that point, we had to move out of the house and move to an area where we could help those people and also be safe, but help out our fellow soldiers.
Sandstorm in Qatar, and they come in so fast, and it was the first one I experienced when I was there, and they come in so fast, and they're so intense that, yeah, I was out for quite a while trying to get the shots and keep my equipment clean and get good shots. I really felt like that basically summed up what that day is like. It's because a lot of people ask, why aren't they wearing protective equipment? Well, they didn't know that they were going to be walking through a sandstorm when they walked out of their tent. I mean, it comes in just that fast. So that's what I was trying to show.
I needed that experience. For my job, obviously, being a combat photographer, combat documentation production specialist, as the Army would have it, you can't grow in that career field without actually going to combat and finding out what your job is really about, or that aspect of your job. But definitely wanted to have that experience, and grateful for it.
I walk into a room, even if I don't have a camera, I can walk into a room and I kind of know what I would need to shoot in here, where I would need to bounce, flash. I know all that just automatically. So the training part's all done. I've been trained, I have the experience, so now it's just instinct, just waiting for the moment.
The name really gives it away, combat camera. When all is said and done, many of these men and women are on the front lines, documenting, capturing, photographing that exact moment that can literally take their breath away.
I wasn't looking for the combat experience, but then once I found out that that's where you're going to be taking the best shots, and that's just seemed the most exciting to me, then after that, I really wanted to deploy. So I started looking for those options.
Specialist Evan Marcy of the 55th Signal Company was sent to Afghanistan in July 2009. It was not his first trip overseas, but it was his first on the front lines.
As a photographer over with the infantry guys, you're definitely looking at the environment differently than they are. I mean, they'll just glance at it and be like, oh, that's nice, and look on. But you know, as a photographer, you can't just take the photo of the scenery. You know, you want to get the guy in front of it doing something that reflects that. So, of course, yeah, I'm looking at them and the way that they act so I could capture them doing what they do.
Specialist Marcy wanted to go where he could get the best shots and had discussed with a buddy about the moment where calm turns to combat.
We talked about it and talked to a few people, and of course got very strong responses like, oh no, you have to shoot back, or no, you can take photographs, you know, it's fine, you know, that's your job.
What Specialist Marcy would soon discover downrange is that sometimes it's not a situation you can plan for.
We were in a firefight for about 2 hours, and I was like, all right, screw this. I just put the camera beside me, grabbed the rifle, and I don't know, it just felt like my time to be the soldier.
But I would say it would take 6 months to a year to really be well stabilized.
Specialist Evan Marcy was on his first mission downrange in Afghanistan. When the fighting started, he dropped his camera and picked up his rifle.
But the camera was, around my neck to my side the whole time, so it was accessible, and I still knew it was there. I mean, the thought did cross my mind a few times, but I was definitely concerned about using my rifle and keeping it at the ready. And after actually being shot and injured, there was a lot of thoughts, of course, running through my mind, and just trying to get out of there. The camera was actually hanging from my neck off the stretcher, and I was thinking like, wow, this would be great if I just put the camera up, took a shot of the way my injury looks and these people carrying me behind it, because the sun was out right. You know, a photographer, you're always waiting for the sun to be out at a certain angle and the way that it lights everybody, and I was like, okay, wow, this is perfect.